All right, this is lesson 3.7, which is really hard, just so everyone knows. We need to find the equation of a line given a table. Okay, so here's some guiding questions that I use in order to kind of help us. First of all, y-intercepts happen when x equals 0. So if our job was to write an equation, maybe first I'll write my skeleton, y equals blank, x plus blank. And I know that this is the y-intercept. Normally I go to the y-intercept and I just find it. It's right there. But if I'm just given a table, I have to remember that y-intercepts happen when x is 0. Here's x equal to 0. Remember, this is actually our BFF. And this is our y-intercept. 2, -2 is our y-intercept. All right, so then the question comes for the slope. Usually we kind of rise divided by run. But instead of rise divided by run, what does rise mean? Rise means the change in the y values. So if we looked on the graph and we were counting the rise from here, the rise is up 2. In the table, thinking about rise as the change in y values, here's the change in the y values. The change in the y values is we're going from -4 to -2. -4 plus 2 is -2. -2 plus 2 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So our y values are changing by adding 2. Rise is adding 2, up 2. For our run, what does run mean? Our run is moving from left to right. It's the change in the x values. So we move from 0 to 1. As we move from 0 to 1, we are adding 1. From 1 to 2, we are adding 1. From 2 to 3, we are adding 1. So our run, or our change in x values, is plus 1. Ultimately, our equation is y equals 2 over 1, so 2x plus a -2 minus 2. Let's look at another example. These two. Okay, so I need to write the equation. So I'm going to write the skeleton. Then I need my y-intercept, which happens when x is 0. So I look at my BFF. My BFF tells me that 4 is my y-intercept. Now the slope again is instead the change in y divided by the change in x. So let's look at how the y values are changing. It's going from 6 to 4, which is 6 minus 2 is 4. It's actually going to be going down 2. -4 to 2, we're subtracting 2. Our change in y values, -2. Change in x values, from -3 to 0, we are adding 3. From 0 to 3, we are adding 3. So our change in x values, add 3. Quickly simplify, y equals -2/3 x plus 4. The your turn problem I'll go ahead and do. Write the equation, so write the skeleton. My BFF tells me the y-intercept is 8. I need my change in y values. My y values are changing by 11 minus 3 is 8. Minus 3. So my change in y values is -3. My change in x values, -4 plus 4 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. Quickly simplify, y equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. Before you move on, just going to go over a couple awkward situations. So the first one, let's go ahead and take a look. Write the equation, okay? Write the skeleton. Identify my y-intercept, okay? 0, 9 is my y-intercept. Now let's look at my slope. The change in the y values, this is plus 6. This is plus 12, then plus 6 again. So it's changing by different amounts. It went up 6, then it went up 12, and then it went up 6. Let's look at our x values before we move on. Change in my x values from negative 2 to 0, it's changing by adding 2. It's increasing by 4. Then it's increasing by 2 again. So when this kind of situation happens, what you need to do, just focus on 2 rows at a time. So let's focus on these two. The change between these 2 points is up 6, right 2. 6 over 2 reduces to 3. Let's check the next row. Between these 2 points, right here, we're going up 12, then we're going right 4. 12 divided by 4 is also 3. So as you can see, the slope is the same, it's just we're counting between larger points. You like picking points that are farther apart. So we have 3x plus 9. Okay. The next awkward situation is this one. We need to write an equation, so I'll go ahead and write the skeleton. 0, my BFF tells me my y-intercept is 6. Okay, now the change in my y values from 6 to 6, I'm actually adding 0. I'm adding 0 this entire time. The change in my y value, or my x values, which is my run, adding 3. Okay. What is 0 divided by 3? That's 0. 0 times x? That's 0. So the equation is just y equals 6. Which actually makes sense because in this graph, if you look at this, what this says is y is always 6. No matter what the x value is. X value is changing, but y is always 6. That's what this equation says. Y is always 6. You can see that right here. If you look at number 5, it's the same idea. Look at the table and you see the x value is always negative 3. X equals negative 3. It's that simple. Number 6, you look at the table and it says the y value is always 2. Doesn't matter what the x value is, y is always 2.